Okay, we'll have a quick look at the Nasdaq and the S&P, and then we'll move on to the stocks, and we'll talk more about the Nasdaq shortly. But yesterday, when we talked about the Nasdaq, it was one of the markets that was the strongest. And as I was saying yesterday in the bigger picture for the Nasdaq, is that it's still bullish. The pattern that we were considering was to the upside is just unfinished. Now, I can tweak it around in certain ways, but generally speaking, the market, if I can just draw here for a moment, generally speaking, looking at the markets is that in most, not all cases, like Tesla's already got sort of 3 waves down here and can push higher at that point. But in many cases, we can look at the market as an ABC pattern here and then moving higher at that point in most cases. Okay, so we'll talk about this more, and we'll investigate this little move down here. I mean, the difference between the Nasdaq and the SP 500 is that the Nasdaq made this little high here, and we do have 5 little waves here, so that's sufficient. But on the Nasdaq, on the S&P, it didn't do that, and I think on the triple Q here as well and the other sectors, we didn't make a new high here. It was just on the futures market, so it made it a little bit different. Obviously, we got some news coming through there, but I'm not going to concern myself with that at the moment. So yeah, with the S&P here, this little move up here made a new high on the Nasdaq, but didn't do it on the S&P. So there's so many little nuances that and big situations that's telling me that the Nasdaq is bullish in that case. In this for the S&P here, we can look at this as wave 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the third wave, the fourth wave that can pull back to the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree. So we'll just see how this sits, and I'll just talk about it a little bit more in a moment. So that's the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree, and that's the 38.2% retracement level. So yeah, it can push into that space here for a wave 4 and then come down for a wave 5 here. Now, if we do get because it's pretty clear to me, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. So otherwise, we would need to look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here, and we've got a bullish correction. But to do that, I would need to see a larger impulse wave here, and perhaps also later on taking this top out here. But we're far from that, so we won't go into that at the moment. We'll just treat it as this for the moment. So we can look at it as wave 4 here. So wave 4, obviously the end of the session, some news event on all of that, and then wave 5 down here. So the point being, if we get 5 waves down here, then we're going to get an ABC correction that we talked about yesterday, and then we're going to get another 5 waves down here. Now, for the S&P 500, I can view it as a top being in place here for this, right? So but I can also look, we've got a bullish picture for it as well. So what we wanted to do was to go short over this side over here. There's different ways to do that. Shorting below the B wave could do that. Now, let's just say that you get and if you get these 5 waves down here, right, then you can look towards the 50-60% retracement level, which will be roughly in here somewhere the time this low gets in here. If that's the 40% at that point, well, 50 would be there, yada, yada, yada. So what you could do, if this plays out, let's just say that we get this wave 4 and then we get a new low here. So you may not be able to count it and all that, but that's okay. If it goes up and goes down and makes a new low there, then you know that you've got 5 waves. Then you can take the top and the bottom here to get the 50-60%, and you could actually get some small positions in here. You can add on the first impulse wave to the downside here. Once you can see that, once you can see 5 waves down, there'll be a little ABC pattern here. So you could also add here, put your stop above here, and build into it, and use the levels here between for 100 and 200, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, all the sub levels in between two minor levels. So you can work it that way. But so when we're looking at stocks, we've got two things going on. We've got a situation where, as I mentioned, Tesla was one of them, where we've got this down as an ABC pattern here, right? And then we've got other markets that would be coming down as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here. So we know that, well, I know that the markets that I look at, I know the Russell has been weak for so long. We know the banking sector is weak. There's some strong banks, weak banks, all sorts of things going on. But there's bearish connotations in with all of those as well. So we know where the weakness is in those. We'll be looking at the banks again today. But anyway, just a quick squizzy on those. So we're starting with Apple here. I wonder if I can just. I was just trying to lift the video recording thing up to see the tops up here, but okay, so this is Apple, and I believe that the move down is also corrective as well. In this case here, I could count down as 1 here, and 2, and 1 and 2, and then little 1, 2, and I was looking at this spike here as a little 3rd, 4th, and 5th for the 3rd sitting here, ABC for the 4th here, and this counts down as 1 and 2, 3, 4, and then all of this down here is 5 for the 3. I've sort of ignored the spike. I could leave it inside of wave 4 here anyway, and wave 5. So in this case, we're looking for an ABC pattern to push up here, and then something of the equal length over here to maybe cover that gap, and so on at that point. So that would be Apple. So I'm looking at it as a corrective pattern though. Okay, so yeah, we'll be looking to buy over here for that. I would only call the top. We looked at the top being in place yesterday, so I don't need to go over that. But if I was going to short this, I don't particularly want to short the strongest stock. That's at this point. So if from the top here, if I got if we view this down, if we got 1 and 2 here, or the AB, I'm looking for an ABC pattern here like that, and 3 waves. If we get 5 waves down, then we're going to get an ABC pattern at that point. If we get those 5 waves down, then we're looking to short over here. So it doesn't really matter. We'll be back to where we're started from at that point, So that's what we'll do if we need to short this particular market. But otherwise, we'll just look at this as an ABC and then further to the upside. Okay. And this is Amazon here as well. So with Amazon, yeah, so we've got these trades down here. That's the reason I'm showing all of this here. We've got these trades here and here. I can't remember if we talk about taking money off the table up here or not, but that doesn't matter too much at this point. So just opening this up here, this I can count this here in different ways here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is put my stop here, right? I had a closer look at this. At face value, it looks like an ABC, but when you look at it closely, you can get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of for wave 1 and wave 2 here for this. So that would make this 1 and 2, and then continuing to the upside here for 3, 4, and 5. So that's on the cards. I can also get a bit of an impulse wave out of here as well. So, but even so, for that now. That means that this would have to be, just to look at things, this would have to be the B wave here, and the C wave would need to be over here, and this would be the A wave here. I'm just going to put wave 1 here, and then an A and a B, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd still need that. That would be 3, 4, and 5 at that point. So, yeah, I'd still need to be up. I'm getting pretty high at that point, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit unlikely that it's going to be wave C up here. So in this case, I think that we just continue to the upside. The other point here being that we would end up seeing 5 waves up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So we would see this at the 120 here, the minor level within group 1. This would be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then we would see a larger ABC pattern come into play at this point before going up again at that point. Okay, so that's where we are here. So this would be a bigger correction. So as it stands at the moment, we'll be looking to take profit up here for that. Okay, and we'll talk about that more a bit later. And the next one is NVIDIA. So obviously that's where the news has come from in that particular point. I was looking for a correction here, but it just didn't give it to me. Well, it's given it to me for sure, but and I've only got 3 waves to this point here, so that would be our ABC correction. So I'm just going to move these over here actually, and I will give that some consideration a little bit later. I don't know if I want to put wave 4 just in there. I mean, you know that I've had problems with this in terms of this little wave 1 here and 2 here. And then yesterday we talked about possibly putting wave 3 here with an A, B, C for wave 4 here, and then looking at this moving to the upside. But this way, if I put wave 4 here, it's a little bit small for this, you know. I'll just put it here for the time being because that's where my big account was telling me I should go. But obviously that news has blown that away. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate, you know, because we're not on it. But I won't cry over spilt milk. But basically, we're on track with the large account for this, and Facebook here. So with Facebook, once again, we had this little trade here and here. I don't need those. I should have taken those off yesterday. So the thing here was that, yeah, it was this little area in here that was just a little bit iffy when to count it. I could probably look at this as 1 and here as an A and a B and a C for 2, and then it doesn't really give it to me here. So yeah, there's a couple of different ways I can view this here. So if I look at this here as 1, 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th wave, 5th wave for the 3rd. We've got an ABC here for the 4th, and we will. Well, I can't confirm, but taking this top out here, the B wave would tell me that we're going to have that wave 5 here. But because of this little situation in here, there may be even another little one coming out of it as well. But for the trading, you know, when we're talking about the trading levels, it's, you know, it's normally just the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then a larger ABC pattern coming into play. So yeah, so basically, you know, we did our job here, and we're just going to, this is where the bigger pattern can come into play here. So I won't worry about this for a little while. Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see if I'm going to leave this here in case we get one more high coming into here, which is possible based on this. It's just a little bit awkward to assess for this Facebook here. But anyway, we are at the medium level here, 250. We're going to be here for a wee while. Any long trade that you do up here would need to be exited anywhere above this particular high here for that. So it's just really a short-term trade, and you need to count 5 waves in there, and I'll try to help that over the next wee while. And Netflix. So with Netflix, here's another one where we've got like 3 waves down here so far. So I was looking for wave 3 because we had a nice wave 1 and 2 and a nice 3rd wave here. So this could be the 4th wave here. We've got positions here and here. So we were only going to exit if 350 became the retested resistance, and using the first low below the level as a catalyst for a price point for stop after it retests the 350. So this is where we are at the moment. We've got little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. It could be an ABC pattern to the upside. The spike doesn't make it that easy. That's easy, all that there. So yeah, I think we're sort of Well, you just never know. It's a little bit, I can see it's a little bit tricky, this one, but based on where we wanted that wave 4 to be, that should be okay. Now, what we can also do here is, this is the little pocket here, the 61.8%. If that becomes the support, well, what we could do here is that we've also got group 2 here, so 65, 72, and 80. So the more that it gets support in the 65, it's not support at the moment, it's just creating the first little high above the level, and it's coming back and testing it at the moment. And, you know, it looks like we've got a little 1, 2 here, and so it might even push up here, and then it might come back and test it again over here, and those sort of things. So there might be a little bit of fluffing around in here, but the more that, to the degree that you can see that it's support here, will be the confidence you can have for it to push up higher at that point. Okay, so I always say, you know, the solution is patience and time for you to see that, you know, it's sitting on that level. Now you can get all types of different little patterns sitting on there, but in a nutshell, what you want to do is that if it does push up and come back, is you're just looking for new highs to be made. So you start off at the top, and then this one here, and then this one here, and so on. Because once a high is breached, you know that the sellers are in control within that space. And yeah, so that's that. On track. And Enphase, I have no idea actually with this. I don't know if we've got wave 2 here. Probably not, because we haven't really pushed up into our target area up here for this. So that's why I've got the B wave here, but we have made a new low over here. But the low that we made here is not in 5 waves, it's in 3 waves. I could probably get, I can get 5 waves out of from the top here. I can get like 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here for the 3rd wave, and then the 4th wave coming back here, but it overlaps this one over here and then down. So I can get 5 down. It looks like 3 waves, doesn't it? So I just got to be careful that we don't get, you know, a 5 wave move to the 61.8% as an A and a B and a C wave, and then come down. So once we've got 5 waves here, anything above that, you could go long at that point. That would pretty much be the gist of it at that point. But I can't count that up as 5 waves. So basically what we've got here is we've got a correction and you know, a bearish corrective rally, and at some point we will be dropping, but working out the best way to get in just requires a little bit of patience. If I had a nice clean 5 waves here, then I would be sort of interested in shorting this low here at that point. But as I was interested in shorting this one, and then if you're going to short a low here, or just by the by, is that, you know, because it's you're on a not so much a level, 160 would be the closest largest number. So if I was going to short this, then I would use, you know, something like this here. I'm looking for the first low below the level, then the retest as part of the setup there. So, you know, having that first low here, I wouldn't trade the breakout here. I just don't do that. I just wait for the retest. So we know it's going to come down. We know it's going to bounce. It had its bounce back up here, and then the next bounce is lower in that case, and then it can spike down, and then it's that push back up. Then you've got that clarity there, because that's where the support is, you know, that's where the strength is. And if the strength can be taken out, well, then you've got the wind in your sails at that point. So yeah, getting those setups right is I don't know, it's just part of the process really, isn't it, you know? So I'll just leave that for the time being. And Google here. So Google, we've got positions in here and here, and I'm just keeping the stop out of the way because I also think this is corrective as well. We talked about taking profit or percentage in different ways here. I can't remember exactly what I said, but normally it's all pretty much normally the same. So I'm thinking here, well, that definitely needs to come over to here now. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. So that's all cool. That's wave one. That's 1, 2, even with the spike there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got that little extra wave here. I suppose I could go that way, but then doesn't really have the right look and feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, more like a wave 2, and then I've got this sharp drop, so then it doesn't finish right there. So it's just not there. I just don't think we're finished here yet, you know. Look, there could be 2 new lows or just 1 new low here. But in one way or another, we should be, I mean, where's that retracement level here? That's up a little bit higher. So that can push up to here. That means that one can push up to about the same. The extreme would be to here, which would be there. So anything, if you get support on 122, then from this point here, then the low is probably in place at that point. But I think I'll just wait for it a bit, you know. I think the buying opportunity for this is that this needs to finish off, and because we've got a series of 4s here, it's just not going to be there. But so it's probably, is that finished to the upside? Looks like it wants to go up a bit further, doesn't it? A bit hard. It has really tested that 1 here, so it could drop from here. This could be the A, the B, and the C here for there, and coming down here, making a new low here somewhere, then coming back up for wave 4, wherever that one's going to be, and then wave 5 here, then the A, the B, and the C wave over here. So there's a fair bit to go over here. I don't know if that wants to pop up there further, if there's going to be one more little high here. I mean, it looks like it doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to bother about it too much because yeah, I just want to see this this ABC pattern come in here. I'm more interested in this one over here for this. So I'll just leave that. But I wouldn't be careful about getting involved in it here. If you're going to get involved, just make sure you take a longer term view of the situation. Either that or get in really close and duck and dive and weave and all the rest of it. Okay, so the next one is Microsoft. So yeah, with Microsoft, there's a couple of things here really. I've counted up as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. It hasn't had a correction across here. Normally with the trading levels, I know this looks really big here and probably a bit useless, but group 1 above and group 2 below is the swing range for the pattern at this level. If the 330 becomes the tested support with the classic trading levels pattern and it gets tested, then it's going to leave this number here and then get pulled up to the 5 at that point. So we're still in this zone here of it correcting. I think that, I mean, I can put in a top here, but as such, but I just don't think that's the case. I think that we've got some sort of A wave, B wave, and C wave coming into play here. So I'm just going to go from 1,000 ticks into 100 ticks. And this is the move that we're looking at so far here. So I've counted as 1 and 2 here. And then yesterday we counted down here. I'm just double checking it as I speak. Doesn't seem quite right in here. That's okay, that's okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, okay, I'll get away with that a bit. I have to go here, a bit dodgy. That's okay, that's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we may have the low in for this. Because we're not going to do any trading in this particular space here at the moment, it doesn't really matter because, you know, some of the other markets are telling me that we need to make a new low here. And this one I've got 5 waves here, so maybe I've made a mistake in the count, and if I've made a mistake, then this is wave 4 over here. But it doesn't really matter because I don't want to do anything either way, because if I just want to wait for that, you know, if this comes down into say 310 here, that 50% is just above there, If it's there, it's there. So it's really around that sort of 318 area here. So so I would want to see some sort of move back up into this particular space here before, you know, as the ABC pattern to come in here. So yeah, look, it may go up into that space at the moment. If it doesn't and it drops here, that's okay. Then it will go up into that space, and then we've got another leg down at that point. We could look to short this one over here if you wanted to, but normally the A wave is the sharpest. What you see here is not necessarily what you get over here for this as well. Unless if it comes down quick like that, then we know we've got a top in. But like I said, like with Apple and that, for me to call a top in for the market, I would need to see, you know, I would need to see at minimum this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. I'd need to see something like that. And if that was the case, we're still just going to get an ABC back up here anyway, 50–60%. Do you know what I mean? That's where we'll catch it at that particular point in time. So anyway, I just one step at a time. It doesn't hurt to do a short in here, but we need to be able to identify the ABC correction in here as well. And I'm just not quite sure that all the markets are a little bit different, you know. Some have got an ABC down, some have got 5 down already, some haven't got 5 down already. They're in wave 4s here and still need to come down further. So it's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. I'll just wait till they sort of tune into each other a little bit more. Berkshire Hathaway here. I could go wave 3 here with an ABC for wave 4 and then up for wave 5 and have a top in place here. This is a situation where I don't have 5 waves down here yet, but probably will get that. And if we do get 5 waves down here, then it's also possible to look at this as wave 4 over here with wave C here and put the B wave over here and have an A wave, an A, B, C for the B wave and down for the C wave, and then move up from that point. So what we'll do in this case is once we've got that 5 waves down here, we're finished here, then if it's going to push up there, it's going to push up. It's going to be up for 1, back for 2, and then push up at that point for 3. Now, if it's going to be an ABC pattern here and only go back up a little way, then we can short it over here for that. That will be our short at that point. I'll just go to 1000 ticks. So there's there's different ways to look at the top here. I'm just sort of playing with it. So yeah, so we'll just wait to see once this 5 waves is finished here. We may end up going up here. We may have a little ABC pattern here and then come down at that point. I should have a look at what's Bertie's A-class shares here. This one. It looks like 5 waves up, doesn't it? I mean, if we go 1 and 2 here and look at all of this as wave 3 with an A and a B and a C for wave 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that could be a C wave anyway, but I don't think it's a C wave in this instance. Possible. A bit hard to see in all of that, but just trying to see what I can see. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 5 waves here as a C wave, you know, and I'm not seeing 5 waves here, an A, B, C pattern here. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and then 5 waves up. So it's quite possible to have a top in here. The other point that we'd need to sort of understand too is that, yes, we can have a top in here, but we also might end up just with an A, B, C here for wave 2 and then go up at that point. You know, so all of this becomes wave 1 and 2 at that point. I mean, if any of these stocks are going to do that, it'll be this one. So in the bigger picture here, just going back a little bit, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, which we can have as the A wave, B wave, and C wave, and have the low in here. That could be the low, and we could look at this here as wave 1. And wave 2, and then these 5 waves up here as wave 1 and coming back for wave 2. I mean, it's possible to look at it as an A wave here, an A, B, C for the B wave, and then down for the C wave here, and have a flat correction and have this sitting over here. This is the issue with this, with all of these corrections. But let's just assume for a moment, looking at the A-class shares there, that it does appear that we can look at this as a top being in place here. So it's either the top of, if that was the case, if it was in top here, it's either that's the top, or the other count would be having this as wave 1 here and coming back for wave 2. And if that was the case, then it's just a matter of deduction and then looking for the right place to be long or short within the markets because we're not in a trend, we're in corrections, in a big correction. So it does make it a bit trickier. So there's more to consider when you're in a correction. So that would be the 50-60% retracement level area there. So we're just really looking at all the counts, and considering them as such. So we could put wave A here, wave B here, and wave C over here. So that could be the case. But I think whatever the case may be is that when this finishes here, we get the first wave up, the second wave back, and then this one here, then we need to be short under here. Now we can short it here, and it may take us all the way down here, but we'll see the speed of it coming down, because if it's going to be a C wave here, normally the A wave is sharp, which it is. If it's going to be a C wave over here, it's on a bit more of an angle, probably dramatizing it a bit much, it'd be a bit more of an angle in most cases, not always. And if it's going to be a wave 3 coming down, then it's, coming down here, then it's going to be as equally as fast as wave 1 here. So that will be interesting at that point, So, yeah, and then the thing is that when this comes down here, it'll either be wave 3 or wave 1 of another degree. So we could get quite a kickback at that point too. Do you know what I mean? So there's a few things that we need to take on board here. But anyway, we'll work through it. But yeah, that will be the short trade at that point, if we were going to take, if we were looking for that. So Tesla here. Tesla is, we can count, I didn't really fix this up here, did I? So I can push this over to here. I'll just move that, I suppose that needs to go there. Possible to put 1 and 2 here, but then I have to look at that as 3. So yesterday we looked at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then wave 3 here. So we're looking for wave 4. It hasn't really overlapped this as yet, and so far down here, this was one of the stocks that I could count down as an A wave here, a B wave here, and then need to just check on that. To be something in here anyway. I'll check on that. But the third wave in here, and fourth and the fifth, I didn't really count it. I just put them there because I could see it. So that would be there at this point, because if it was going to be a wave 4, then I'll have to take this top and put this here. That would be the 38.2% retracement level here. So we're already above the 50%. So it's unlikely this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here. Do you know what I mean? So it's more probable for this to continue to the upside here as the wave 4, because we would, anyway, that's where that is. And what I'm thinking here is that we get this up here as wave 1, and then the ABC back for wave 2. That's probably down here somewhere. Doesn't have to come that far down, and probably won't. It will probably sit much closer to the 80 at that point too. So that's that really. I don't think we need that 1 there. That's not going to be helpful anymore. But there we are. We've got the turn. We've had a little trade. The next trade is going to come after this wave 2 pullback here. You could trade it up here if you want to, or let you do that. I mean, on your own sort of steam. You probably would look for, if you look from 80 to 90 here, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the top of 3 here, 183 with the top of group 1. So the more support, tested support, you can see on 183, the safer you're going to be. And then you can add on the 5, classic trading levels and the 5. And then you just need to hold on through the top here, and you should end up quite close to the 200 at that point. But the trade that we're basically looking for later on will be this ABC back here, because then we'll be going, this will be interesting for us because we'll be in wave 2 here of 2. So we'll be in the third of the third. And then so the next move up here will be 1 and 2 coming back here, and then 1 and 2 again over here. They don't always play out, but sometimes they do, and that's why we need to keep on top of them. And you know, Tesla's a stock that's got things in the pipeline with these little bots that could, you know, send this much higher in this case, you know. We'll block here. So yeah, I'm not really quite sure about this. All I know is this is a corrective pattern here, and this is the 38.2% from wave B top to wave C here. If I had to look at that as wave 3, for instance, then if I had to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, that would make this the ABC pattern here, and that would take us, you know, we could end up here for that. It's a long shot. There's, you know, there's good things in the pipeline for, I know that's the other guy, isn't it? Jack Ma's strike, different. I get them confused now and again. So we noticed the impulse wave here yesterday, not yesterday, the other day, and it mentioned to go long over this, and then we started to get overlapping wave structures in here we talked about yesterday. So we know that I mentioned there was weakness in that point. Now it has moved up and you know, closed higher, which is obviously strength, but at the same time you can see that it's on lower volume in that move to the upside. So it wasn't on increased volume. So it's just another little warning sign. This is, you know, if we can get a larger 5 wave pattern to the 65, the medium level, then we can look to go long here. So if we can get 1, 2, and look at this other little move up that we looked at yesterday as wave 3 and a pullback for wave 4 at the moment, and then up for wave 5, and we get an ABC pattern here, by all means, we can look to go long at that point. It's not a big deal, okay, based on those 5 waves. But because I don't understand, I don't fully understand this here. I mean, to put it as an A and a B and a C wave, I could do that, but and I might be right, but I can be wrong as well, and I don't want to be wrong, you know. So I have to wait for certain parts within the wave structure to play out and act on, and this 5 waves here is where we could do that. Okay, so over to the banking sector. So this is, you know, we've had a look at the we should actually just have another look, actually, just see where the other banking sector is, the KRE here for a moment. We'll just put that on the daily chart so we can get some sort of thing on it. Okay. So we haven't seen it for a week. I'll just remove this line here. It's just annoying. I've got to figure that out. I didn't figure that out. That's what that means. So the thing here is that we were looking for this wave 3 low to come into place and then wave 4 to come back here. So that's playing out quite nicely there. It looks like an A and a B and a C wave up here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll keep a bit of an eye on that. The trend up there has been on slowly increasing volume, so people are thinking that it's value buying. We'll just give it some time at 40, shall we, and see what that looks like at that point. Just keep a bit of an eye on it. So Bank of America, we're looking for, well, we can look at it in 2 different ways. We can look at it from the top here as the A wave here, the B wave here, then 1, 2, and I could go 3 and 4 to here on that ABC, but it's a bit small, so I could bring it over here, either meeny, miny, mo, but that would still leave me with a move to the downside, and I think we'll get that because this move here is definitely corrective, and it's taken that B wave out, so that means that it should take this low out here eventually. Okay, so I'm pretty confident there's more downside to this. It's just when's that going to come, you know? So this move up through here, that may not be finished just yet. So like the markets in general that we've just been looking at with stocks, is that some of them have got 5 waves down, some of them have got 3 waves down like Tesla and are moving up, but most of them have got some sort of ABC happening here, you know, the Microsoft, the Google and those sort of things. I know they're not related, but markets are emotional, and they can all sort of herd together in a point. So the basic premise for the markets, and you know, I could even bring in Facebook, is that we have an ABC pattern and then another move up. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. At this time though, that what we can do is that any move below here now, we can look to be short at that point. So that's what we're looking for. We're just taking our time. We need the rest of the market to fall into play and so on, because the other move here is down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, and then down again. As I mentioned, they don't always pan out, so we need to be a little bit careful. So we're just being patient, but nothing to be done today. This is Morgan's here, so this is one of the stronger banks, and in this case we can look at it as an A wave here, B wave in blue here, and a C wave in blue here to make the bigger B wave up here for that. For that to happen, we need that to be wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, and then go up into wave 3, 4 and 5, moving higher in this space here. So that's possible. Now, on the downside, we could put just wave B over here for this. And that means that all this 5 wave move down here would be wave 1 at that point. And then I'll have to look at this as wave 2 here with wave 1 and 2 and going down here further. So what we decided to do, what I thought about this over the last wee while, was just to allow the 5 waves to come down if they're going to come down at all. And when they do come down, there'll be a bounce back, and that's where we'll look to short if we need to be on the short side. So we just need this to get pulled into a corner. So this is one of the stronger banks. Goldman's is in a bit of a weak spot here at the moment. We could also look at this as down here as an A wave down here with an A, B, C for the B wave here. That looks pretty good. So we could also look at it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 over here, and then to the upside here as well. So if we looked at it as 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here and then 1 and 2 here, that wave 2 could come back over to here a bit, could be here. But it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do with this is that we're going to see if we get 5 waves coming down here, another 5 waves, then we'll look to short under this 5 wave structure here. And the reason for that is that if we do have a bullish case here, that this could be down here as the B wave over here, some sort of ABC pattern here, then 1 here, then this would be the A wave, the B wave and the C wave down to here for this here. We're currently from here to here, we're pretty much at the 61.8% here. That's why it's finding support here. So to drop down between the 62% and the next level 78.6 would be okay. So yeah, so on an intraday basis, we'll just see if if we get those 5 waves coming down here for that, then we'll make a move on that. But this is in a pretty weak situation here, one would have to say. And any move that came down here would definitely see another bounce at that point. But the fact that it does come down here for another bounce, you know, that this then, you know, we'd probably open this up as 5 waves down here. So we'll end up coming down here as wave 1, and this will come back here, and so on and so on. So we'll see which way this is going to to play out. There'll be plenty here, because if this is you know, like Bank of America, where we had it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, this is the same for Goldman's here as well. So this is you you know, these guys, you know, are in the M&A business, and that's been, you know, in a bit of a bear market itself for the last year or so. So maybe there's no deals going on at the moment, you know. So yeah, I mean, you know, once this market lets go of the three here, let's just say we'll look for a classic trading levels pattern here. This is the arrival, the reaction, and the first low below the level, the ABC pattern, and then down and retest and down. That's what we're kind of looking for, you know. I was looking for it over here, just didn't sort of get it. We got it once in here, and we didn't get it the second time, so it found it. That's why we wait for that first low, because it ended up finding support and, you know, moving up at that point. But this time around, I think if it comes here again, it's definitely over. Yeah. So this would be a nice one to short. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.